And you already know I'm going to take the word worry as an acronym and help you move out of that into what God has for you on this morning. It's always the text to talk and the takeaway. And this morning, the text to talk and the takeaway is found in the acronym worry. How many of you sometimes just feel like, it kind of gets on you? That situation, that health problem, that financial problem, that situation with your family, and it kind of begins to consume you to a point where you start worrying. Well, this morning, I'm going to drill down deep on that. It's all about worry, the acronym worry. Let's begin with W. Let's begin with W. Worry has to do with wasted time instead of worship. I'm telling you, worry has to do with wasted time instead of worship. Now, what do I mean by this? When Moses went to the children, went back to Egypt and said, "Hey, let my people go." He said that to Pharaoh. He said, "Let them go and worship for 3 days." We typically look at worship as a demonstrative act, something that takes place in a corporate setting, or maybe even a personal situation where our hands are lifted up and we're audible with our worship. When Moses says this to Pharaoh, let the people go so that they can come out and worship their God for 3 days, that word is defined as service. Now, some of you, many of you, maybe in my generation, remember that this old saying we would always say, enter to worship, depart to serve. Actually, the word worship also has to do with serving. So instead of you being preoccupied with wasted time, worship him by serving him. When you are doing things, it has a way of taking your mind off of the thing that has so consumed you and put your mind on other people by serving. What does the O stand for? The O stands for God is watching over you. God is watching over you. So Psalms 121 says that he's going to bless you going out and he's going to bless you coming in. And I love the verse where it says in that whole psalm where they are singing on their way to Jerusalem. They said this, he says that he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. Go to sleep, rest, because God is watching over you. God is watching over that situation that you just can't let go. He's got it. He really does. What does the R stand for in our acronym worry this morning? Repeated thoughts. You ever notice how when you are worrying and everything, you repeat these thoughts over and over and over again to no end? There's no results. You just keep thinking about it. It keeps doubling over in your mind over and over again, but nothing ever happens as a result of you overthinking it. You repeat the thoughts. Philippians 4:8 has a different thing. Paul told the church at Philippi, think on these things. Whatsoever things that are good, whatsoever things that are holy, whatsoever things that are pure, whatsoever things that are true, whatsoever things that are excellent, beautiful, think on those things. When you begin to get caught up into worry and you begin to repeat those thoughts in your mind, put something else on your mind and repeat those thoughts instead of the thing that cannot change just by your repetitive thinking of it. What is the other R for? Routine. Routine. What I have found that you will get in a routine when you start worrying. The routine will take you out. You get up, thoughts on your head, in your mind. You go throughout your day. That routine. Sometimes you have to break the routine. You have to break the habit. And what Isaiah 43:19 says, I'm going to do a new thing. I'm going to do a new thing. So when you're preoccupied with that thing and you keep doing the routine over and over, then call on Isaiah 43:19 and says, Lord, I need you to do a new thing in my life. Break this rut. The word routine comes from the root rut. The root rut comes from the Old English word, or the word that has to do when in early America, when the wagons were making their way west, and they would create a rut in them, in the road, through the mud and all, and you could never get out of that rut. And therefore, that rut turns into the routine that you can't get out of, but you need to pray and say, Lord, do a new thing in my life. Isaiah 43:19. So what's the why for? You can't change it. No matter what you do, you can't change it. Only he can change it. Luke 1:37 says that nothing is impossible for God. Nothing is impossible for him. So when you're caught up into that thing, when you're caught up into wasted time instead of worship, not realizing that God is overseeing that thing and that your repeated thoughts are not bringing any results, when you're caught up into the routine that needs to be broken, realize the why in the worry. You can't change a thing, but God can. Luke 1:37 says this: nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. So whatever has you now consumed, whatever has preoccupied you, know that God has already got it. What's your takeaway this morning? Your takeaway this morning is turn your worry into waiting, watching God win on your behalf. Turn your worry into waiting and watching God win on your behalf. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you, give you peace. You already know. Share the manna with somebody else that might be worrying. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more Morning Manna. Bye now.